Hey guys, I'm Chef T-Max. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're gonna make jerk rub from scratch. So a jerk recipe you can use for jerk chicken, jerk pork, whatever you want to jerk. Jerk salmon, I don't care. But it's gonna be an amazing jerk from scratch. Tell you all about it, so stay with me. Click subscribe if you're not doing that. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and ring that bell and I'll send you new things I have coming up. So I'll see you back in a second with some jerk rub. Okay guys, jerk, Jamaican like jerk is one of the most, I guess, predominant flavors that I can think of when I think of Jamaica. I spent a lot of time going there as a kid with my parents. My dad had some business there, so we would go a lot. And I remember the first time I sunk my teeth into some jerk. Oh my God, was it spicy? It was flavorful. It was like something I'd never tasted before. But when you really understand the Caribbean, and I've spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, I have restaurants in the Caribbean, and you really understand why these ingredients came together. So green onions, we're gonna start. That's one of our biggest components is green onion. Now, a lot of times you guys are buying jerk rubs and things like that, and that's fine, but you gotta try this at home. With these are scallions, okay? Scallions, green onions, same thing. But these ones you can see have almost like a thickness to them. They're bigger. These are very kind of this young, kind of beginning of the season scallions that are thicker and beautiful. They're not kind of those overly processed thin ones, but those will work fine for this as well. The only thing I saw these in the store and they smell and they remind me of like a baby leek. I grew up on a farm in Virginia and we used to transplant baby leeks. So as a kid, I used to have to sort the baby leeks and your hands would always smell like that. So there's nothing like a smell memory just to bring you immediately back to that time. But with this is this beautiful aromatic leeks. So I've cleaned them already and I'm gonna chop them. The bottom parts, I'm not really worried about as much because I know that those are gonna be clean, right? Because the kind of circles around that are much smaller, okay? But as we get into these top part of the leaves, dirt gets in those leaves and it's harder to get out. So what I'm gonna do is cut these really quick like this, and then I'm gonna rinse these in some ice cold water and just really mash them around to get any bit of sand out. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I've got my green onions. Now, my green onions, at this point, I'm just gonna put them into my NutriBullet. You can use a blender, whatever you want to use. I just have this NutriBullet. I use it for so many things. And it's a good size because it makes kind of like a quart container. Now there's a little residual water in this from me rinsing it, which is fine because you know, a little water in the recipe is fine. We're gonna add other liquids as well. So that's my green onion. Now I'll put a little lime in there. So I'm gonna take one lime, okay? And I'm gonna squeeze that into my beautiful green onions here. The lime, you never know, depends like on what time of season it is and how juicy they are. You could use lemon. If it's winter season, you want to use lemon, you can do that. And then we'll taste it for acidity later. This is done really not by the measurement, but by the taste, okay? Same one comes with the pepper. Now these are habanero, but in the islands we have a scotch bonnet, which is kind of a better pepper for this. I think it's more aromatic than a habanero. But habanero in the States is something that we see more. But if you can find a scotch bonnet, you have one of these local farmers and they love trying new stuff and they've got their scotch bonnets there, take the scotch bonnet, okay? Now, with this, I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the outer pith of it. You see this outer piece? I'm gonna put that in there like this. Now I'm gonna make this really hot. So this is one, because I'm making it for myself. You are gonna put like one little slice in. If you like heat, then put a couple more, put the whole thing. But if you don't, you're not sure, put just one slice of that. Do not put the seeds. That's gonna just light your life up, okay? Now, I do that first and then later I'll come back and see how many more it needs. Now in this kind of a batch, one of these, I've got a bunch of garlic cloves here. I think I'm gonna start with like probably 4, okay? Because I do think it's pretty garlicky. We want this recipe garlicky. This does get cooked, so we don't have to chop them any certain way. I just want to chop the root off of the garlic. Now these are freshly peeled. I just peeled these. So you don't want to buy these already peeled, okay? cut any imperfections that you see off and cut the little root end off, okay? And throw those in. So I'm going to start with 4 and we'll go. Now, just like the peppers, I have more peppers here. I have more garlic. We can always add more, okay? I've got ginger here, okay? The ginger, I'm going to slice up like this. I've peeled the ginger already, but I'm going to add my ginger in like this. Fresh ginger, not ginger powder, okay? It's definitely a different flavor. Okay, now I've got thyme. So on thyme, what you have is you've got kind of, on thyme you have like this hard stem, right? On the bottom it's harder, on the top it's tender. So what I do is I take my fingers from the hard part and start there. Now it broke, you see it does that all the time. So you just throw the hard part away and then you just kind of taking these leaves off. Now, when it gets to the end, if that little end breaks off, that's tender, so leave it's fine. This part that's more like sticky, throw that away, okay? I've got basically like a good tablespoon of picked thyme here, fresh thyme. You could use dry thyme if you don't have fresh thyme. That is a good substitute, okay? Now, the other main ingredient in this is allspice. So you imagine, why did Jamaicans come up with this recipe? It's no mystery. It's a spice island. They've got tons of allspice trees. That's their allspice it's, you know, the tree is very big there, the pimento tree. They call it the pimento tree. So this pimento tree has the pimento berries. That's the allspice berry, okay? So these pimento trees, they get giant there. I've seen them and the berries get big and you ground up. It is such a special smell, allspice. And they, of course, it's something that grows a lot there, so they use it. And they use that wood from those trees. Any of those trees that have died, they cut the wood up and they cook the jerk with that. Now, when you're cooking jerk, usually you cook the wood and then let the wood get to a lower temperature. And then you put your meats on it there and you cook it slower, not really fast and high. You cook it slow. After it's cooked down, it's getting smoky a little bit and you get that smoky, really slow cook on your chicken or your pork. It works really nice. So what's interesting is how much you put in this. I'm gonna start this with 2 tablespoons, okay? Which you guys are like, what? That's a lot. Actually, I'm not gonna do 2, I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons. The amount of allspice is tremendous in this, and that's what this dish is about. It's about the flavor of allspice and the green onion. The rest is just slight flavorings. Now, I'm gonna put a little cinnamon, probably a teaspoon of cinnamon. Some people put nutmeg. You know why? Because nutmeg, they have a lot of nutmeg trees. They're growing usually right next to the allspice trees. And then the nutmeg around it has mace, so sometimes they put a little mace in it too. That's just because all of those things were right there at the market. They're like, okay, green onions. They mash those up. Let's put allspice, let's put mace. We like seasoning of spice. And then they're like, we like hot, so they put their scotch bonnet. Then why do they put things like soy sauce? Soy sauce, you know, came there to the islands from the travelers, from the traveling trade of sugar and the rum trade. So that's something they had. Soy is something they had for salt. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, okay? And then I'm going to put some Worcestershire. Worcestershire is another one that they would have had from travelers bringing this kind of older sauce, right? And then you have 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire in there, okay? Now, we've got all of those things. I'm going to put a little sprinkle of salt because I want to give it a little bit of salt, but it already has a lot of soy, so let's not put too much yet. And I'm going to put a little bit of blended oil. This is I use a grapeseed oil. You could use coconut oil. That would be really nice in this too, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is blend this up, and then we're going to go by flavor. So let me blend this up. Let's taste it and see what happens. Okay, I've blended it up. You can see my sauce is this kind of light brown, and I'm going to taste it a little bit. Wow, that's definitely the taste of jerk right there. Okay, what am I tasting for? Everything. I'm tasting for salt, spice. Oh, I was going to say sugar, and we didn't put sugar. It's got to be around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. My raw sugar. Raw sugar is another one that we put in there. So you can use coconut sugar in this if you want. You can use raw sugar. You can use white sugar. It's fine. I'm going to put 1, 2 2 tablespoons of like my raw turbinado sugar, okay? Why do I use the raw sugar? I like the raw sugar. Raw sugar also gives you the molasses flavor in there. Or you can put white sugar in a teaspoon of molasses. It's up to you. But that's what's really nice about it. It's not spicy enough. So these habaneros are spicy, but they're not as spicy as the Scotch bonnet. So I want to cut them, again, around the outside. I do not want to cut I do not want to put the seed pocket. If you only had one, you could buy one habanero and put the seeds in there and it's going to blow you on fire. And that's good. Now when I taste the garlic, I think it's got enough garlic. What I don't think it has enough of is ginger. So I want to put a little bit more ginger. Okay. Now, have you ever showed you how to peel ginger? What we do is you just use a spoon and you scrape it with a spoon like this, right? And this is the best way to peel ginger. It's got a harder surface than like your peeler does, and it does a really good job of taking the skin off of this young ginger, okay? So I want to peel the skin off of that like this. I've already washed it really good, so if it does get a little bit of skin in this, it's not a big deal, okay? But the exotic flavor of the ginger is really nice. Now, I want to cut this up. I'm going to slice it up just so it cuts better when we blend it here. And then I think it needed more salt. So I'm not going to add any more soy. I'm just going to put salt. And then I'm going to put oil. Probably 1/4 cup of oil, okay? And that's going to make it kind of creamier, or just like fattier and smoother, okay? So let me blend this up and see how we are. Okay, we're back, and now it's getting nice and creamy. I'm going to show you how creamy it gets. You see how that looks like nice and creamy? That's because of the extra oil that I put in there. And it's also when you're marinating it, the oil lubricates the dish. It's really nice. Now, I've kicked up the heat, which is good. Woo. I've kicked up the heat, which is good. I think I'm going to make it even a little bit spicier because I like it super spicy. But the sugar in there is going to has balanced that out nicely. So, what I want to do at this point, I don't know. It's sneaking up on me now. I'm getting teary-eyed. So that actually means it's perfect. I don't like it if it's not giving me a punch. So this is going to be a perfect marinade at this point. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more lime in it. So for this amount, which looks to me like was 2 bunches of green onions, and you can see this is like a quart right here. So to make 1 quart container of sauce here, it's going to take 2 limes to do that, okay? All right, so we have this. I think we're looking good now. We've got enough seasoning in there. I'm going to blend this up again. We're going to taste it one more time. All right, I've blended it up again. So you can see with this, take your time. Blend it up, blend it up, blend it up. You're not going to do anything to it. You're not going to ruin it. It's beautiful. It's got just the right amount of oil in there. It gives it like a little bit of velvetiness. But it's also going to help to coat whatever you're cooking with a little oil. So when you cook it on the grill or you cook it in a pan, it's not going to burn right off the bat. Okay, you want it this is the best on the grill. Now, I taste that citric acidity you're going to get from it. Beautiful island jerk seasoning. Now, with this, finish it up. It's done now. You guys can just put this away and store it. It'll last for a long time in the fridge. I mean, you could probably put it in there for a couple weeks. Okay, but here you can see I have some beautiful pork chops. Look how beautiful these look, right? Nice and thick, right? Like this, perfect for the grill. What I want to do now is just coat them. So you can see I'm just going to pour my jerk right on top of them, and I have enough jerk to keep for some other stuff in the future, some jerk chicken maybe, you know, when I have some people come over. Really nice kind of thing to do and make for your friends. So look at this, beautiful jerk seasoning. I just coat it on there heavy, and I let these pork chops marinate. Now, I'm gonna let those marinate for probably at least half a day, and then I'm gonna put those on the grill, a nice low grill, grill them, not super low, like medium. Your grill dial, put it on the medium setting. Start at a high, burn everything off, turn it down to medium, then start it on your grill. Something that size is going to take maybe 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes on each side actually, because they're pretty thick. They're about 1 inch, so about 5 minutes on each side. And then I just turn the grill off and let it sit there for a second and smoke and taste beautiful. So this recipe, when you get that grill going, the grill flavors and the flame on top of these green onions and all that with the pepper and everything kind of comes together, it's going to be mind-blowing. So if you haven't had this experience, make it at home, do it for your friends and family. Have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll answer them, okay? And I'll see you back in my kitchen soon. I'm Chef Dean Max.